welcome back. And we're still talking to Scott about communications right here at the World Economic Forum in East Asia. And one the theme this year on East Asia, entrusting trust.
Right.
Anchoring trust, sorry, on regionalism right here in Asia.
Yep.
So I know you have a profound perspective on how do we anchor trust in an open market.
And to me, that's where I think is the real opportunity for businesses and our business in the communications area, because trust is central to the ability to people to work together.
Yep.
And trust is built over the course of time. You may be from another place, I may be from another place, but as long as we kind of have open and honest communication, and sometimes we're not going to agree, and sometimes we're going to work through some pretty hairy issues, but if we have an open and honest communication, the chances for us to engender trust in that process is greater. So as the economies come together in this region, I think that central to the success is frequent communication and making sure that everybody is aligned and on board. Companies do it, successful companies do it. Great leaders are usually great communicators.
Correct.
And that's what's important, is you don't want people guessing where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So you need that communication.
Yeah. And is that where Ogilvy comes in, right? I mean, amidst all of this need to have clear and transparent communications. For instance, this forum, so much issues are being discussed on this forum, but whether or not how these issues will impact the community or society, that's how it's being communicated.
So what we
downwards.
do with the forum is we worked with the organization of the World Economic Forum on the press center and making sure that there's enough opportunities for businesses, for the press to cover what's happening here, because they believe also, the World Economic Forum believes, that more communication to help people understand how they're trying to improve the state of the world is happening through a lot of communication. So that's what we've done. We are what we would call ourselves a consumer insights company, or a constituency insights company, which is we try to help people who are communicating understand where the people they're communicating are in their understanding of certain issues or topics or whatever, so they can address them. Whether they agree or not is one thing, but they can understand. You can't communicate with someone if you don't have someone that's listening to you.
Right.
So our focus is really on helping people understand how to bridge that communication, how to maximize that, what are the moments of truth when you can have that dialogue, and then making sure that that takes place on a regular and sustained basis.
And now you pointed out earlier that in harnessing trust, we have to make sure that communications are ongoing, transparently, openly. And is there a fear of overflowing information that is going on out there, and thus the public not being able to filter which information that they should be absorbing and which they...
That train has left the station.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, there is a plethora of people out there talking. If someone is not helping to drive the agenda, if they're quiet and just letting the news media or others drive the agenda, they don't have their voice in that type of dialogue. So we're always of the view that you have to communicate consistently and often, but on a regular basis, but it's got to be consistent. The message has got to be consistent. Where you get problems is when someone goes from this message to that message and they're shifting there. So that's where we come in terms of just message creation and how to deliver that message on a consistent basis.
Now, does the responsibility of making sure that people are getting the right message comes into the umbrella of sustainable communication?
Yes, I would say, I would say absolutely it's central to that. There's a lot of different factors. There's a research component where you understand polling, you understand where people stand on certain issues, but also keeping the message central, finding out when's the appropriate time to deliver those messages, like the president will do tonight in terms of the World Economic Forum and the APEC summit. So there's clearly someone that's designed how the president is communicating. I think he's doing a good job in that respect.
Now, one last question, Scott. Indonesia is an archipelagic nation, and how would you advise that we, or the government at the moment, be able to communicate its policies, its decisions to the public? We're still developing our digital access to the public that are living in rural areas.
Right.
So do you have any?
I'm not an expert in that area. I mean, I'm not an expert in Indonesia and all the various components of how the country communicates. I know from other countries that I've worked within that there is a combination of making sure that they address things both in a wide broadcast way and then reinforced with digital communications and reinforced with not only press interviews and so forth. So I've been part of strategies in that regard. I don't think I know enough about the country and the dynamics. I even know in China, where I've done a lot of work, there's also systems by which they get mass messages out. So I think, you know, they've got to make sure that they understand how the breadth and depth of the nation can get the information, understand the channels by which to do that, and then the cadence in doing so.
Yeah. Okay, Scott, thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck for the rest of the
Thank
forum.
you very much. Appreciate it.
And that was Scott B. Kronick, the President and CEO of Ogilvy Public Relations, talking to us about communications. And coming right up is actually, we'll be talking to President of the United Nations Population Fund, which Professor Dr. Babatunde also Timahen, the Executive Director, right here in Indonesia, to talk about harnessing Indonesia's democratic dividend right here on Berita Satu. Stay with us.